Hello and thank you for joining us. I'm Mackailyn Johnson. Now at noon, a special session is in session today here in Arkansas. We'll have what you need to know about the plans for the state's record surplus. And one of former President Trump's homes was investigated by the FBI last night. We'll break down the search for missing White House documents. And schools are getting ready to come back. A closer look at the problems teachers are dealing with and how one city in Arkansas is trying to help. Plus, the Novavax vaccine is now available in Arkansas. A look at how this vaccine is different from the others. But first, we're here with meteorologist Nathan Scott. Nathan, we got a good chunk of rain yesterday. What can we expect for today?
Good afternoon, Mackailyn. Yeah, some places saw some gully washers yesterday. We had some showers and storms out there early this morning, but a lot of clouds across central Arkansas, and those clouds are keeping the temperatures down. That's good news because the cooler the numbers, the less chance of strong to severe thunderstorms going into the rest of the day. It's 85 in Little Rock. It's 78 though in Hot Springs, 88 in El Dorado, and you can see there's a mixture of sun to the east, more clouds to the south and west, and that's where the rain is really located. Still watching a band of some showers and storms into southwest Arkansas, but around the metro there could be a little bit of light rain, and down into southwest Arkansas, that's where we have a line of showers and storms moving through you folks in Ouachita County, especially around Buena Vista and Stevens. That's moving into Union County. So we'll hang on to the chance of a pop-up shower storm, especially as we get into the afternoon and evening hours. Temperatures today topping into the upper 80s to lower 90s. We'll have the chance of rain stick us around for a few more days, and I'll have more on that forecast coming up.
Thanks, Nathan. And looking now at some of the areas still dealing with power outages after yesterday's storms. Entergy says that over 3,500 customers in Pulaski County are affected right now. Most of the outages are in West Little Rock near Rodney Parham. They are currently working on the problems and hope to have power back later today. Well, this afternoon, lawmakers from around the state are at the Capitol for a special session focused on tax cuts and school safety. The third extraordinary session of the 93rd General Assembly kicked off this morning with both the House and the Senate convening and taking up Governor Asa Hutchinson's call. Lawmakers will spend the next few days figuring out how to use the state's $1.5 billion surplus. The governor says that the first priority will be looking at tax cuts for Arkansans. Committees for both chambers are set to meet this afternoon to begin discussions on that. The governor also wants lawmakers to set aside $50 million from the surplus and use it to fund the School Safety Commission's recommendations to improve safety in schools across the state. One senator says he doesn't think this process will take very long.
Honestly, I kind of expect it to go pretty smooth and to not have anything really exciting. Most of the fight we've kind of already had before we got to this point. I think there's broad support for the tax cuts. I think there's broad support for the school security measure, and so I think that's probably all we're going to hear, and I think it should go through pretty quickly.
Our Ian Russell will have more from the session on THB 11 News at 5 and 6. And Arkansas teachers had hoped to get pay raises on the agenda at today's special session. Educators say low pay is hurting current teachers and efforts to recruit new ones.
We're not able to pay what some of our larger neighbors are paying as far as salary.
Shane Patrick is the assistant superintendent at Siloam Springs in Northwest Arkansas. The district is facing its highest turnover ever, and it's not alone. The executive director of the Arkansas State Teachers Association says it's the worst shortage the state has ever seen.
The shortage now is none that I've seen in the past 30 years. We're in dire straits. We have an extreme shortage, and it hasn't improved this year.
Administrators are doing whatever they can to recruit teachers, including statewide and regional outreach. Many are also looking to fill support staff positions. One district that may have an easier time recruiting teachers is Russellville, and the superintendent says that's one of the goals behind its new pay raises.
It's one of our board's goals to be the choice, a district of choice. We certainly want to support and value our teachers in our district.
All staff will also be getting a $1,000 bonus. That raise goes into effect this coming school year.
knowing that you're valued in that manner, to be compensated that way, is just an amazing feeling to experience. And I am just so happy to be where I am right now. This is just an amazing start to a fantastic school year.
We first told you yesterday morning Russellville is raising its minimum teacher salary to $45,000 a year, up from $40,000. Laura Tucker has been a teacher for 34 years. She says she already loves her job, and this is just the cherry on top. Former President Donald Trump is the focus of an FBI investigation into how he handled classified material. That investigation led to FBI agents searching his Florida home looking for evidence. Skylar Henry has more details from Washington, D.C.
FBI agents seized boxes of documents while executing a search warrant at former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home Monday.
This means that a judicial officer found there was probable cause to believe there was evidence of a crime at Mar-a-Lago.
CBS News has learned the search warrant is connected to missing White House records. Earlier this year, the National Archives asked the Justice Department to investigate Trump's handling of official documents.
We think they're the 15 boxes that he took from the White House to Mar-a-Lago and wouldn't give back. That's the most likely reason that they wanted the search warrant.
Executing a search warrant on a former president's home has never been done before, and given the political nature of this search, approval likely came from the very top of the FBI and the Department of Justice.
This is a big time move that in part is going to be stepping on a hornet's nest. He's already issued an outraged statement. They knew it would happen and they don't care.
Republican lawmakers soundly criticized the search, calling for hearings looking into the FBI.
And there's been lots of questions before this raid about whether or not the FBI is doing their job apolitical. And we don't know the answer to that question yet.
The Trump family called it political persecution.
They do it for one reason, because they don't want Donald Trump to run and win again in 2024.
The surge has angered many of the former president's supporters who rallied outside of Trump Tower in New York. Trump PACs are already fundraising off the news, sending out texts asking supporters to donate. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Developing news this afternoon, a man in Lawrence County is dead after an armed encounter with local sheriff's deputies and state troopers Monday. According to the state police, 40-year-old William Chad Newman was firing a gun randomly outside his home on South Free Street. Law enforcement tried to stop him, but they say he refused to surrender, pointed his gun at an officer, then they opened fire on him. Despite medical attention, he was pronounced dead at the scene. State police is investigating. And the Lawrence County prosecuting attorney will review the findings and decide whether to file any criminal charges for the use of deadly force. 2 state troopers are on administrative leave. There was also 1 sheriff's deputy involved whose work status was not immediately clear at the time of this late breaking story. We will continue to keep you updated as we get more information. And meanwhile, North Little Rock police are in need of your help this afternoon. They're now offering a reward for information leading to an arrest of the person responsible for killing this man, Raymond Harris II. Someone found Harris dead in the early morning hours on July 1st in the 4200 block of Smoky Lane. His death has been ruled a homicide, but it's been more than a month and no suspects have been named in the case. Now police are offering up $1,000 for any information leading to an arrest in this case. The U.S. is sending another $1 billion worth of ammunition and military equipment to Ukraine. It's the largest single drawdown from U.S. military stockpiles so far. This comes amid increased fighting in the south and east of the country. Charlie DeGatta is in Mykolaiv, a frontline city on Ukraine's south coast.
We spoke with Major General Dmytro Marchenko in the rubble of the regional government headquarters. No one here needs reminding that Russia still holds the upper hand in heavy weapons. The general told us that for every 100 shells the Russians fire at the city, his forces can respond with only 10. But the Kremlin's forces are running out of precision-guided missiles like the one that destroyed this building in the early days of the war. General Marchenko gave us a long list of weapons being unleashed on the city, from long-range missiles to Soviet-era rockets from the 60s, even firing anti-aircraft munitions at buildings.
And they're using cluster bombs here too?
The general credited American-supplied HIMARS for striking weapons depots and severing supply lines far behind Russian front lines.
What difference has the HIMARS weapon system made for the war effort?
It's one of the main factors why we've kept our ground, he said, and started taking advantage on the field. But the Russian onslaught has been relentless. The frontline town of Bakhmut has suffered ferocious bombardment. The shelling of the eastern Donbass region's main water supply has left residents in the city of Sloviansk without water for 2 months, adding to the suffering in cities under siege.
This city comes under nightly bombardment. It was hit again last night and early this morning. Explosions off in the distance. The general told us it happens at least 3 times a day, hitting random civilian targets, even hospitals. Charlie Daggett of CBS News, Mykolaiv, Ukraine.
And today, President Biden is expected to sign the $280 billion CHIPS Act. The aim of the bill is to help the U.S. become less reliant on other countries for high-tech advancements. The pandemic showed just how much the U.S. uses tech from China and items like cars and computers. The bill provides about $52 billion in grants and other incentives for the semiconductor industry, as well as a 25% tax credit for those companies that build chip plants in the U.S. Well, you've heard of flipping houses before, but some new car buyers are finding out that their car is worth more than it was when they drove it off the lot. We'll check out how after the break. Nathan?
Mackailyn, we're seeing lots of clouds on our View 11, and those clouds are producing some rain in parts of the state. I'll have a live look at radar and talk about our opportunity of more showers and storms out there later today and for the next few days coming up.